Hello and welcome back to the Film Custodian Show. I am the Film Custodian. I work in a theater and I'm currently in a garage behind said theater. And it's the middle of the night, maybe you can hear the crickets and whatnot. Anyway, I just wanted to make a quick video because I was really excited today. I remembered, I was like, oh yeah, crap, I need to get home, it's Friday. It's Friday, September 2nd. And you know what? I am really super excited to see the next episode of Primal. After I watched Primal and I saw how awesome it was, I was like, oh yeah, The Rings of Power comes out today. So I sat down to watch it. And from the first few seconds, you realize, oh no, it actually is that bad. I'm gonna try to love this thing. I'm gonna try with all my might. But by God, I couldn't do it. From the get-go, you have the setup, right? And just like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which yes, you always have to compare it to the Lord of the Rings trilogy and even Hobbit films because that's what came before. It's just what you do. Okay, so Peter Jackson's Fellowship of the Ring, right? First 7 minutes, 10 minutes sets up the entire thing perfectly, right? You go back to more or less the Second Age, the end of the Second Age, where this is supposedly going to end. This is where the Lord of the Rings trilogy begins, right? Which is the last alliance of men and elves, and they're coming together to go and defeat Sauron, right? Now, it didn't really follow the book, and I should just say that adaptions like films and TV, video games, like I don't mind if they don't follow the source material, you know, word for word, scene for scene, they change things, they add things, because it's a different medium, right? It's visual storytelling is what a film is or a TV show, right? And it's not a book, okay? You know, when you're reading the book, you're imagining everything in your head. Like, nothing is going to ever be as good as the vision that you've created in your head. So the book is pretty much always going to be better to a certain extent. All right, so anyway, they set up everything perfectly, right? They set up the good guys, you know, the elves and the men. They set up the bad guys, the orcs, Sauron, the One Ring, right? He gave, you know, 9 rings over here and some rings over here. He gave elves rings and all this stuff. And then there was the One Ring, and then there was the creature of Gollum and all these things. And they set up the entire prologue and how the ring kind of disappeared, right? And then it sets the stage. So the evil has been gone, right? Sauron has been gone. And now you're setting up everything that's good. The Shire! Everything is green. Everything is beautiful and wonderful. And and before that, you see a map of the entirety of Middle-earth. So you see where everything is, right? And now you see everything. You see, you know, the hobbits are having fun, you know, Frodo's, oh, it's wonderful to see you, Gandalf, and oh, dear boy. It was never late, Frodo. He arrives precisely when he means to. You set everything up, right? And you're getting rid of, you know, oh, we're getting ready for my birthday party. And you're setting up everything that is good and wonderful. What they're going to eventually fight for, right? Well, this didn't have any of that. The Rings of Power didn't have any of that. You had this little sequence at the beginning where Galadriel, who's more or less the main character of this show, I guess. There's a lot of characters going on. Some haven't even been introduced yet. But she's more or less the main character. So she creates like a little like paper boat, puts it in the water. Her brother comes along. You know, they're all children, elves and whatnot. And then she kind of, they sink her boat, and then she pushes him down, and she's gonna start punching him in the face, you know, because that's what girls do. They just punch the boy in the face, punch him. But she's stopped by her brother, and they have this little talk that doesn't really mean anything. It's supposed to be inspirational or something. And the next thing you know, there's like, it's super quick, you know, the Morgoth, and he destroyed our trees, and then my brother died fighting orcs, and then there was this guy Sauron, and you kind of see, you know, a little bit, and then woof, and then you're just, now they went to Middle-earth, and you kind of look at Middle-earth, and it's like, it just feels like I missed an entire movie. Because you get there and you don't know what's going on. If I hadn't seen everything prior, that going into this, they pretty much accepted, they're just like, okay, everyone has seen Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or something. They're already aware. We're not gonna, you know, we're not basically going to set this up. If you've never seen Lord of the Rings before, you're gonna be lost. I was lost. I didn't know where we were half the time. It's like, oh, she's dragging, you know, this team to the ends of the earth. We're gonna hunt down Sauron. I know he's still out there. He's still somewhere. Can I say Galadriel is crap? She is insufferable. It's not, I can't really blame the actress here, okay? Because this is clearly the writing and the directing. have just made her insufferable. She's not likable at all. In fact, none of the characters are likable. I didn't even get a chance to like any of the characters. They just kind of show up and they kind of do things. It's like we're going on a tour of Middle Earth, and we kind of stop in over here, and then we kind of stop in over here. We drop in on these guys, see what they're doing. We drop in on these guys. There's the story. We're in the South. I believe we're in where the Southrons are, whatever. Harad. We're there, and the elves are kind of keeping watch over this race of men because these men decided to follow Morgoth, and they don't want all that to happen again. So, okay, whatever. Again, this particular show didn't have anything to work with. Okay, all they had was the rights to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. So that's basically the appendices at the end of Return of the King, which is like that much book, and then just whenever stuff was mentioned. So they kind of got the rights to a whole bunch of nothing because they're not making the Lord of the Rings movies. They've already been made. They're not making the Hobbit because that's already been made. So they're like, oh, well, we'll just do that little bit there. And they don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. See, that would have been cool because then you would have had some material to work with. This is just all made up stuff. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna go to the south. So anyway, we're back in Harad, and there's the elf guy, and he's in love with this human woman, which they put in there because it's very reminiscent of Beren and Luthien, or even Aragorn and Arwen. It's a popular theme that Tolkien has done. Strange things are happening, and are the orcs coming back? But I mean, it's obviously the orcs are coming back, so it's not really even that interesting. Which brings me to this: what exactly is the story? Right? There isn't one. Galadriel is searching because she knows that Sauron is out there. And now orcs are popping up here and there in all different parts of the world, and the map kind of swoops down, and here's this part of the world, and here's this part of the world, and you're following these characters. I don't care. I don't really particularly care about any of the characters. Nothing is interesting. Elrond is just, I don't know, he kind of wanders off, and he's going to create an alliance with his old buddy, the prince and Khazad-dûm, and stuff, and I don't know, there's some nice scenery there. Real quick, the cinematography. Everyone, it looks gorgeous, it's amazing, it's so cool, it's an amazing, it just looks incredible. No, there's like a dozen shots or so where yeah, you've created some nice CGI landscapes and stuff like that, and it looks very pretty, or there was like, I guess what is kind of like their cemetery, I guess, where Galadriel's hanging out looking at the statue of her brother that's been carved into this tree. That was kind of neat looking. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But other than that, I can't really say that the cinematography is good, which is just crazy. Oh, and Baron McClary, or McCary, however you're saying that in your name, the guy who did the awesome soundtrack to Black Sails, one of my top 5 favorite shows. Black Sails is awesome, and he did the music, and it's great. You're letting me down, man. You're letting me down. The music in this was just so stereotypically fantasy, just oh, which brings me to my next point. The music keeps telling me that something is happening. There's something dramatic happening, or I'm supposed to be, that there's tension in the air. There's orcs nearby, or something like that. No, it's just there's nothing, and it's almost in Lord of the Rings. John Howe, which he did do the theme music for this, which was just whatever. I don't remember it. Kind of like the rest of the show, I don't remember anything about it. There's no story. The acting is terrible. I mean, all around the acting is just bad. I don't know. I mean, clearly Celebrimbor, I believe is his name, the guy that he wants Elrond to help him. He's going to create this tower, create this forge. Because clearly that's where they're going to make the Rings of Power. Oh, the Rings of Power. We haven't seen Sauron. We haven't seen any bad guys. We don't know what the threat is. Everyone, it's like, oh, it's a mystery. Wow, what? I mean, as we all know, the orcs are coming back. It's like it's manufactured drama. Stuff happening with no purpose or reason. Oh, just like a quick move, and Galadriel comes, she runs and jumps onto the sword and jumps and kills the dwarf, and then it was terrible because the editing was terrible, the photography was terrible, you couldn't see the action, the editing was terrible. Who's ever editing this thing, stop. I mean, this actually is mediocre at best. At best. If you didn't have Tolkien's name attached to this, if there was no Lord of the Rings, no Middle-earth, this would just be, yeah, just another mediocre, generic, you know, overly priced fantasy show, and where a bunch of people just look like they're, you know, at a Renaissance fair, a medieval fair or whatever, and they're just kind of LARPing around. Oh yeah, and what's all this? You know, like, Rings of Power versus House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon wins 1,000 times over, okay? Even with its politics smacking you over the head, all right? That show is fantastic in comparison to this thing over here, okay? I mean, you actually have some characterizations in House of the Dragon. You have a story, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. And that they say in the end, I believe total costs from when you get up to, I hope it's not just this first season, but I'm going to give it benefit of the doubt and say it's all 5 seasons. When all's said and done and the whole show's been produced and it's done, that it would cost over $1 billion, making this the most expensive TV show in the history of TV shows. And it's too bad. All these resources and money and just endless money being thrown at nothing. There's nothing to grab onto, you know. They weren't sure. They didn't want to fully commit to doing Tolkien because they also wanted to, you know, do a little bit of Peter Jackson. So they bring in John Howe to sort of design everything. And you know, I talked about that in my other rant video. Basically, make the armor and all the different sets and everything, and elves and different races kind of have a similar design, but they didn't fully commit to being a prequel, but they didn't fully commit to Tolkien, so they're kind of just doing their own thing. They didn't really commit to doing their own thing either. So what you get is just some stuff. The seeds have been planted to be something great, you know, well, this has potential, so I give it a positive. It's like, when you actually read the review, no. Pretty much nobody's into this, okay? Nobody's into this. All right, well, that was just episode 1 and 2, by the way, the first 2 episodes of The Rings of Power. So unfortunately, I have to go back 5 more times. No, there's 8 episodes. I have to go back 6 more times. I mean, it's just a job. It's a chore at this point to just watch the rest. Whatever. I guess that's about all I have to say. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my rantings.